Just the phrase, the rolling thunder, makes me think about springtime rains. Not that crashing, frightening, spiking thunder, but just the rumble and roar like the purring of a big cat. Today it's sunny, it's beautiful. Yesterday it was raining and we kept having these rolling, thunderous sounds in the midst of a steady downpour that waters the earth and makes me think of growing things and springtime. And it also makes me think of God. That sound, like the purring of a big cat. A lion, not a tame one that can do serious damage and mean serious business. And it makes me think of the sounds of God. You know, the Bible talks about God as speaking in a whisper. And very often I think of our times with God where we're doing well, things are going just swimmingly, and there's nothing particularly out of the ordinary, out of our schedule. And it's like God is in the background there somewhere in our conscience. But then every once in a while something happens and our steady pulse is interrupted. You know the story of Job. Here's a guy who had everything going great. Everything was in order. And then suddenly, one by one, everything he counted on was pulled out from under him. And he is in deep, deep trouble. And he begins to consider God. He talks in the book of Job of all the amazing attributes of God and the things that God has done, and these things that are way bigger than Job. And Job's kind of little, what he would then begin to think of as insignificant, no matter the boils, kinds of problems. And he would talk about God with creation of all living things and the galaxies and the stars and the seas and the rolling thunder. The writer in the book of Job speaks up in the 26th chapter after having described some of these amazing, big attributes of God, and he says this: "These are but the outer fringe of his works. How faint the whisper we hear of him. Who then can understand the thunder of his power?" One of my favorite authors, C.S. Lewis, seems to understand the power and impact of God when he writes in his book, The Problem of Pain. He says this. He says, God whispers in our pleasures, but he shouts in our pain. I don't know what you're going through. Maybe you've got a whispering God because everything's going so well right now for you. Maybe you've experienced some things that make you think, boy, God's got to show up, and for him to dent the pain and the difficulty and the problems of my life, it would have to be thunder rolling and sustained across the valley floor of my life. But maybe in this there would come some spring rains too. Maybe God has healing for you. Maybe there are magnificent things God has in store for you in the midst of difficulty and even fear like some of us are experiencing right now, today. That same writer in the 37th chapter would say these words: God's voice thunders in marvelous ways. He does great things beyond our understanding. May this great big God pierce the pain, the challenge, the difficulty, or even your pleasure today with the thunderous roar of his presence and something amazing. May he bring spring showers to your life and grow where maybe there's not been much growth in the near past. It's been my pleasure to spend this time with you right here on my patio.